How do I turn it on? I'm live. Okay, fine. No, we're just gonna be a minute late. I'm sorry I didn't have the phone ready for you. Okay. You're not in your chair, so nobody can see you.
I'll be there.
Just yet.
I'll be there in a minute.
All right. That should be it.
All righty.
Okay.
Yes. We're good. All good.
All right, and you know what?
We're a little
out of sync due to the. Take it easy there, Susie. All right, we're going live.
Okay.
You know what's going on with the giveaways and the. You think by the time it happens, you'll know.
I'm Gary Semix, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A with Joe Abbate.
Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. I'm Joe Abbate. Thank you for watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. My lovely bride of 38 years is here with me as well. Susie?
Hi.
How you doing this year?
We're good.
We're so good.
Yeah.
A little out of time due to our journey.
Yeah. We had a journey, plus we haven't been live for about 3 weeks.
No, we haven't been live for a couple of weeks. And
But we're back. We're back.
You know, we did have a new show last week. I just want to get that camera straight. We did have a show last week. We had Steve Bauer on.
Yeah.
Good guy, a journalist, and we'll be talking more about that a little bit later on. But thank you all for tuning in. And yeah, here we are. In the meantime, I want to thank our sponsors. Racer X, the International Motocross Museum, Motion Pro, Sirius Studios, ReplicaMotorcycleParts.com, Vinco, Full Circle Racing, Preston Petty, and of course, AMSOIL. These wonderful people also help make this show possible. Al Keith Geisner, Tyler McGregor, and so many more. You see them all there on the list. You still got a special going on from AMSOIL. If you want 4 products from AMSOIL that you could definitely use in your shop and on your bike, along with a really nice Vintage Motocross Q&A t-shirt, simply put in the comments, I'll take the AMSOIL special. I'll take the AMSOIL special. It'll cost you $49.95. It's a $75 value, but you'll get that all for just $49.95. Okay. Sirius Studios, one of our new sponsors. I have one of their shirts on tonight. SiriusStudio.com. Some serious off-road, or not off-road, but off-track gear from the Winners family. They got hats. They got some really nice, soft, cozy shirts. Got gear bags and a whole lot more. SiriusStudio.com. And if you were listening to the show last Wednesday, you heard me tell Steve Bauer that I wanted to start working not as a sponsor or a supporter of the show, but in conjunction with a great cause. It is known as the Big Air Kids Fair. This takes place once a year at Loma Hospital, and it's a wonderful show that Steve puts together with some of the greatest freestyle riders in motocross. Over the years, he's had everyone there from Travis Pastrana and so many more this year. And of course, he is the biggest name going right now. Axel Hudgens will be there. That happens Wednesday, January 22nd. We'll talk about it a little bit more in the show. In the description of the show is a link right at the top. It is for PayPal. It is for you to make a donation. Any amount would help. Okay, guys? Any amount would help, and just click the link. Anything you do would be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to keep sharing the show, whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube. Share the show. And we are going to be, Susie, are we giving away, we're going to do the grips for the viewer appreciation, right?
I thought we were giving away the AMSOIL telescopic magnet.
Okay, then here's what we'll do. Susie, how does that light work? Show me.
Pretty amazing.
It's amazing, you think?
It's telescopic.
Yes.
I don't want to burn Tyler McGregor. Retina's out, but anyway, it's telescopic.
Yeah, it's magnetic.
It's magnetic.
Right.
And and it's got an amazing little light. So here you go.
It's systematic. It's hydromatic. Yeah, it's grease lightning, and you're only getting it here on Vintage Motocross Q&A. Keep sharing the show, and someone will get that a little bit later on as we continue in our broadcast. What else we got happening here? Oh, we got a next time try this segment. In fact, it's a two-parter from Roy Vanderveer, and we're going to show you one part now and another part a little bit later on in the show. It really is very, very interesting what Roy has put together for us. And excuse me, I was able to see some of the contributors to this show out in York, Pennsylvania. We'll talk about that in a little while as well. But Roy put something together here for us. We've often heard about it. Some people have seen it happen. It's a great way to repair plastic. Let's see what Roy's got.
I'm Roy Vanderveer, and welcome to this week's edition of Next Time Try This. What I've got on the bench today is an airbox out of an XR500. That's not an important point. The issue is the mud flap to protect the rear shock from dirt and debris is cracked. And I don't want to have to chase down a new airbox. So what we can use is our hot staple gun. These things aren't very expensive, and they pretty much pay for themselves the first time you fix one thing. So I've got this staple preheated. I'm going to put this staple in, and then we're probably going to shoot this video in a couple sections. So once the staple's in, we're going to let it cool off. There's a spot here where the muffler has melted the mud flap, and what I always do is take a sharp box opener, and when I'm off camera, I'm just going to cut that off and kind of shape it out to the way we want it to look. So I'm going to get a good angle of attack here and push that mud flap back where it needs to be. Let's make sure, and then get in a good spot, and we're going to melt that right into it. There we go. Then we'll let that cool for just a couple seconds so the plastic can get a good grip on it. And then we wiggle the gun off the posts. Now, you have two posts sticking up. It's very important that you bend these in this direction and this direction, kind of overlapping the staple. They're pre-stressed to easily snap off if you bend them in that direction. If you try any other direction, they can be really hard to get off of there. And it also helps get that rough edge as close to level with the plastic as possible. So I'm going to finish stapling this up, and then when I come back, we're going to smooth things over with a wood burning iron. So be right back.
Great stuff from Roy Vanderveer. We'll be back with part two in just a little bit further down the road in the show tonight. In the meantime, I'm going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
I'm Brock Glover, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A, and we'll be right back.
Vinco, who already has a full line of vintage parts, now has air shocks that are an exact duplicate of the original air shocks so popular in the late 70s. So whether you're looking to build a full racer or museum showpiece, these shocks will give you that incredible 70s look and improve your bike's performance. These new air shocks are fully rebuildable with Vinco rebuild kits, and all shocks are hand assembled in the USA with all new components. Every component is brand new. Just like the originals, our air shocks are adjustable with 2 chambers, high and low pressure, giving you tremendous flexibility for settings of your bike suspension. The Vinco air shocks come fully assembled and ready for installation. Just add air or nitrogen. The kits include the manual and spacers. Visit Vinco.com to check out the air shocks and all that Vinco has to offer to help you get back on track and to keep that ride going.
They do know how to keep the ride going there at Vinco. They got a lot of specials going on. They must have over 1,000 products in their catalog at this point, from brand new cranks, top end kits, sleeves, just about everything. And as always, they offer a great shipping special too. Anything over $200, and it's not hard to spend $200 at Vinco, they will ship it to you for free. Vinco.com. Keep the ride going. I want to welcome Fred Hudgens and Derf's Cycle Shop. They just renewed their sponsorship with us. We're going to be putting up a little bit of a bigger sign for them, and we will be showing you more specials that are going on and more things that Fred and Derf's Cycle Shop can bring you, the consumer. Okay, thank you.
Ordered some shirts too from me.
Oh yeah, he just ordered. So he's ordered a bunch of shirts. So any of those Derf's shirts that you see out there, they've come from Susie. Okay, you know what I want to do too? I got something in the mail today. See this? It's a really, really nice card. And most people send things out for Christmas or for New Year's or for Easter. Kurt Evans sent it for New Year's. Okay, down up design. Kurt Evans, thank you for the New Year's card. What's it worth segment? It's brought to you by Full Circle Racing. Be sure to get over to Full Circle Racing for all your wheels, whether it's on-road, off-road, dual sport, vintage, or modern. Got a 1973 Bultaco. I'm sorry, it says 74 here. 74 Bultaco 250 MK7. This bike was recently sold. This is, of course, the portion of the show where you get to guess as close as you can. And let me see. I know I got a picture of them here, but I know you know what they look like. Here's what we're going to give you. Set of Preston Petty grips. Okay? This is for U.S. residents only. Preston Petty grips. All right. So once again, here's the bike. I'll read to you the description, and you take a guess. Let me know what it's worth. 1974 Bultaco 250%, powered by a 240cc two-stroke single, paired with a 5-speed transmission. It's got fiberglass bodywork. It's finished in blue and white, silver half duplex frame. In all my years, I've never heard it called a half duplex frame, but I digress. The bike rides on 21-inch and 18-inch wire spoke rims, further equipped with telescopic forks, NJB shocks, and AMO carburetor, a black solo seat, folding foot pegs. Seller notes that repaired the throttle, but it needs further work to run reliably. The 120% project was purchased by the seller in 2024, now offered at no reserve in Colorado on a bill of sale only. Once again, 244 cc's, 36 millimeter carb, a black expansion chamber. Who would have thought? Work in preparation for the sale, including cleaning a carburetor, replacing the spark plug, and changing the oil. The seller has repaired the throttle, but notes once again the fuel system will need further work for the bike to run reliably. It doesn't look like a bad looking piece. Looks pretty complete. I think the price that it went for was very, very fair, but what do I know? How about you, the viewers at home? How much do you think this bike went for? You know, a little Pomeroy replica. How much? $2,000? $25,000. $3,500. Remember, it's a non-runner, and the seller says that it will need some carburetor work. How much did it sell for?
How much?
I'm going to tell you right now, Susie. Don't get impatient now. There it is, $3,000. It sold for $3,000 on the 14th, just a day or so ago. $3,000. Anybody got close to that, Susie, without going over?
No.
Oh, they will. Somebody will come up with it. No?
No.
I want to thank Bill Mashow and the Vintage Motocross Buyers and Sellers Price Guide page for posting that up. It's a good little page to go to, whether you're looking to know about the value of your bike, and you could post it there, or you want to know what bikes have recently sold for. Okay? Don't forget, get over to Full Circle Racing for all your wheel needs, be it on-road, off-road, whatever it might be. Full Circle Racing. We are going to...
Was he okay?
Who? Tom McAllister?
Yeah.
I did see he was laid up. He had a...
Some kind of foot problem?
he did have some kind of a foot problem. I'm going to check in with Tom. You know, I've been away for a little bit too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to check in with Tom, and we'll find out how his foot's coming along, and if he's back up to building wheels again, and
Yeah.
what exactly is happening at Full Circle Racing.
Yeah.
You know, a guy I really wanted to meet at the York Swap Meet, but he couldn't make it. He got snowed in North Carolina, was Jerry Maddox. But you know what? We're going to see Jerry Maddox right now as he talks a little bit more about Tom McAllister and Full Circle Racing. I don't know how much longer I can segue into all these segments.
I get asked often, what's the most important thing on Clunker? Answer simple, it's me. That's why I use Full Circle Racing wheels prepped by Tom McAllister. So should you. Watch this and learn why. When racing vintage motocross where suspension is very limited, your wheels can be the difference between winning or serious injury. We chose to run full circle racing wheels because of the super high quality materials and the heavy duty spokes used. Prepped by Tom McAllister, I have the confidence on the track to push way harder through the rough stuff and the bigger jumps, knowing my wheels are going to stay under me. Hey, Clunker may be 50 years old, but his wheels are brand new, and yours should be too. Call Tom McAllister at Full Circle Racing today.
And that was Jerry Maddox, and I hope to be seeing Jerry Maddox a little bit more often. He's been a big contributor to the show, and just an all-around great guy. He's got a little part coming up in a movie. His son races with him. Just a real interesting family. The Maddox, way to go. Tom McAllister giving away some raffle tickets, okay? This is for the Arizona Supercross. Let me get this a little bigger on the screen here. This way I can see it, and I don't know if you see it any better when I do this, but oh, man, is this thing dragging tonight? Okay, you can win a trip for two to the Arizona Supercross 2025. Now, you need not be present. All you need to do is go over to www.WSMCHOF, that is, of course, the Washington State Motorcycle Hall of Fame.org. Buy yourself some tickets. They're $20, 3 for $50. You and a friend may wind up getting free airfare, hotel, and 2 tickets to the Arizona Supercross.
Oh.
That's coming up. Supercross season is underway. And if some of you guys watched it last week, I did not get a chance to watch it. I was at the York Swap Meet, and I was at the banquet the night before. Really great time. Potomac Vintage Riders. Thank you, Sunrise Vapor Blasting and Mark Farriester, for being a wonderful supporter of the show and doing some great work for us as well. Don't forget, the Motion Pro special continues. 20% off across the board and everything at Motion Pro. When you go to checkout, simply put in MP9135. That's MP9135. Thank you, Russell Waters, for being a sponsor and supporter of the show. We got specials going on from Russell all the time. Okay. We are going to hear from the International Motocross Museum. Then we'll be right back with more Vintage Motocross Q&A.
I'm Donnie Hansen. You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. We'll be right back.
Motocross struck America, coming from Europe like a lightning bolt, striking the hearts and minds of people all across the country and the world. Battles of intense racing and cutting rivalries with loyalty to brands and heroes intensified as years of blood, sweat, and dirt flew through the minds of those memories of champions as they wrestled their machines through almost impossible tracks. But where are those past champions? And where are their bikes? Terry Good, an ex-pro motocross racer, has made it his life mission to honor these heroes and the bikes they rode to stardom. We raced, we rode, we lived and breathed motocross. Go back in time and relive those moments, now preserved for the first time ever in the world's first museum dedicated to the history of motocross. Our new building is in the gate. Help us get a great start and you can be part of history. Go to internationalmotocrossmuseum.org and become a part of our team.
The International Motocross Museum is a not-for-profit organization, 501c3. Get over to their website, internationalmotocrossmuseum.org. Some big things are happening in 2025. You'll be hearing about them here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. And who knows, you might be watching Vintage Motocross Q&A live from the International Motocross Museum in Chicago next year. I'm sorry, did I say that? Listen, get over there and buy your, look at this. See this? Bob Hanna, original autograph, 4 of 100. Where's that number? 4 of 100. Oh, here it is. 4 of 100. But there's more of these, but there's only 100. I don't even know if there's any left. But you could get one signed by Bob Hanna. This is truly something that I will treasure forever. when we had the last event at the International Motocross Museum. The father of the Elsinore, Sasaki Osuka, was there. All right. This is one amazing man. And if you're riding in Elsinore today, this is the reason why. The man is just brilliant, fun to speak with, and he signed that for me. And he also signed my name in Japanese. At least that's what he said he did. I don't know if that's Japanese or not. You know, it could say Abate-san has a funny face. I don't know, but I doubt it. He's a real person, and loves to talk about moto. Has a lot of great stories. Osuka-san as his Susie and he got along famously as well. Next Tuesday, if you watch the Steve Wise Moto Fellowship show on Facebook, I will be Steve's guest. Next Tuesday, I think that happens at 5:30 Mountain, 5:30 Pacific, 6:30 Mountain Time. I will be Steve Wise's guest next week. The Moto Showcase is brought to you by Preston Petty. Preston Petty, be sure to visit them online at PrestonPetty.com. Always something new and exciting going on there. And I was speaking to Mike Murphy out at the York Swap Meet. New products coming out. This is rather odd, but the Moto Showcase is actually Paul Stannard's bike. It was on display at the York Swap Meet. It is a Webco Hodaka. One interesting little piece of history right here. I'm going to read to you a little bit about this. By the way, this write-up comes to us courtesy of Ted Guthrie, okay? Paul Stannard's immaculate replica 1971 Rickman Hodaka Webco 125. Back in the 60s and 70s, Venice, California-based Webco Distribution was the largest supplier of aftermarket accessory motorcycle products in the USA. With the intent of promoting their 125cc top-end kit for the Hodaka Superette, Jeff Heiniger, son of Webco founder Time Heiniger, coordinated with Modern Cycle Magazine to build this project bike, and this was the result. Webco started with the Rickman Brothers nickel-plated Micro Matisse frame and fiberglass bodywork to ensure that its 125 kitted engine would have the best chassis available for that time. The Baby Sirianni forks, Coney shocks, and Dunlop tires came next. Finally, the big bore Webco 125cc cylinder, piston head, 26mm Mikuni made it to a low-slung torque engineering expansion chamber. Along some other special features of this bike is a trick paint job. The bike was not only a great performer, but a real looker as well. As Paul himself, as well as Lee Fabry, who built this bike, it is meticulously matched to the original machine. Great thanks to Paul for displaying such a beautiful machine at the event. Major kudos to Lee for yet another example of his amazing skills. And thank you, Ted Guthrie, for a top-notch write-up. And there you have it. This week's Moto Showcase bike, 1971 Rickman Hodaka. You know what I want you to do, Paul? I want you to go back in your warehouse and pick out anything you want from Preston Petty products. Compliments of Joe Abbate and Vintage Motocross Q&A. You want fenders, you want grips, you want a headlight thing. Go help yourself, Paul. Thank you for.
So
go get whatever. Hey, Paul, you know what you need? Get one of these. One of these rear fender light things with the rubber thing. Go get whatever you want. All right. Thank you, Paul Stannard, for all you do and all you help us with here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. Don't forget, we mentioned it earlier, Sirius Studios. They got Trey Kennard on their team now, and they've got a couple of other guys racing for them as well. I've got one of the shirts on right here. See it? SiriusStudio.co. Larry Winter and the Winter's family, thank you so much. I want to give you a call. I need some more gear to wear on the show. All right? I am one of those beautiful periwinkle sweatshirts. It's a powder blue, but I like to use the word periwinkle. What else we got going on here? I'm a weirdo. Mm-hmm. Did you know?
I did.
Did you know is generally brought to you by Jeff Kokoski. Jeff is under the weather. We saw Jeff at the York Swap Meet. He's a little under the weather, so we're going to bring you something that has to do with Did You Know, but I know you know about this. You know why? Because it is the York Swap Meet. 2025 York Swap Meet is in the books. It happened last Sunday, January 12th. It was an absolutely amazing time. Don't believe me? Look at the smiles on these faces right here. Susie and I selling some T-shirts, looking at bikes, going around with the camera, making some videos. To my left in the picture our dear friend Oscar, a huge contributor to the show, as well as Jeff Kokoski sitting back there between us. They've got their VMXQ&A shirts on, and we had a really wonderful time. How about this? 75,000 square feet
That's how big that place was?
of fresh paint, chrome, and rubber.
Wow.
Okay. And it's not only fresh paint, chrome, and rubber. I mean, there are a lot of beautiful show bikes there, but there are a lot of bikes for sale, some incredible displays, and we had an absolutely wonderful time. Best of show. Look at this BSA. And no wonder it's the best of show. The fit, the finish, the chrome, the polishing, and the paint were second to none. One of my favorites, this bike was restored by my friend Tony Sikorsky, TMX Moto. He doesn't call it restorations. He calls it TMX Moto Services. All right. He is in Ossining, New York. And if you're looking for somebody to restore a bike or maintain your vintage bike, get a hold of Tony Sikorsky, the Mako 125, rare as hen's teeth. Look at that rotary valve and that carburetor sticking out of that engine. What else do we have here? Oh, you want something a little more authentic? Well, that bike was authentic too, but rare and unusual. 1980 Honda Mugen. The Mugen. Does anybody know what Mugen means in Japanese? Anybody? I'll give you some stickers if somebody types in what Mugen, M-U-G-E-N, means in Japanese. Just type it in the comment section. A couple of guys there were wearing our shirts from years past. You saw a lot of those popping up. Also, I love this bike. Yamaha CT1 175 looked absolutely beautiful. I couldn't get my eyes off of it. You want something a little bit different? How about a 1972 Kawasaki Hill Climber? How about that bad boy? Look at that paddle tire. It's got the Hatta forks, low slung pipe. Absolutely. Take a pair and, well, it would take a pair to ride this bike. Let's leave it at that. And if you're looking for something a little more in the heavyweight class, how about a Rickman Matisse Trials bike? How would you like to ride a trials event on this behemoth? Look at this thing. Look at the shift. Look at the size of the engine. Can you imagine? Can you imagine plunking through some logs, wet rocks, and up some muddy hills on this bad boy right here?
I don't know how.
It was there. It was there, and it was an incredible bike. Everybody loved it. Everybody loved everything about the York Swap Meet. Make your plans now, because let me tell you something. They sold out. It happens in January. By December, things start getting hairy, okay? They sold out. All 400 spaces sold out. Big audience, thousands of people through the door all day long, lots of sales being made, a lot of cash being exchanged by hand, and just a really, really great time. I want to thank Bill Nazelrod, Mike Slate, the Potomac Vintage Riders, for having me out there again this year. We did make some special awards from Vintage Motocross Q&A. Yeah, and that was it. I don't know why tonight I've got so many pictures of Sirius Studios gear on here, but I do. Sirius Studios. You know what I want to show you now? I'm going to show you the second video from Roy. Did a really nice job with that plastic. I guess he calls it a staple gun, but it melts the plastic and it gives you the ability to put some plastic back together that's cracked, like fenders and whatnot. Bet you Phil Cox uses one of those things. Okay, here we go. Let's see what Roy's got.
Everybody, I'm Roy Vanderveer, and welcome back to part 2 of our airbox repair. We've got a cracked mud flap that protects the shock absorber. We're using a hot staple gun to repair that crack and put this airbox back into service. Got all the staples in, and I left just one more that the posts need to be snapped off of. Sometimes it takes a little bit of back and forth like this. This one's being a little stubborn. There it goes. That one broke off just like it's supposed to. So we've got everything together. It's stable. These repairs are very strong. If it's going to break, it's probably going to break somewhere else. But what I want to do now is we've got this stitching that doesn't look so good, and we're all very vain, so it won't look good. My wood burning iron to kind of smooth this stuff out, but it just wasn't getting hot enough, fast enough. So I'm going to do the next best thing, which in a way is even better, because everybody's got a pair of vice grips and a flat washer. And I ground one side of the flat washer flat, so it's just about the right width for this area that I want to smooth this stitching out. So what I need to do now is warm this up with my propane blowtorch. Once it's glowing red, we can come back over and start to smooth this stuff out. So here we go. Maybe. Okay, forget about the propane. Let's use MAP gas instead. Okay, it's hot, but we gotta work fast. That makes the repair a lot less noticeable, but there's still some metal posts from where we broke that off kind of sticking up. We're going to come back in part 3, and I'm going to show you how I grind this down a little bit, which should give us an even better finished look. But if we had to stop with this, that's better than what most people do. But we'll be right back.
We won't be right back tonight with parts 3 and 4 from Roy Vanderveer, but we will have parts 3 and 4 on next week, and I will also put all 4 on the Vintage Motocross Q&A page, so you can go back and reference them anytime you like. Okay, we are going to take a little bit of a break. We're going to hear from ReplicaMotorcycleParts.com, and then we'll be back with more Vintage Motocross Q&A.
Hi, I'm Paul Parkinson with Replica Motorcycle Parts. I'm sitting here with our test bike, which is ridden by Jerry Maddox. Here's the #1 plate in the US. Let's go over a couple of the parts that we've got on here. We've got our ignition cover with the case saver built into it, so that when the chain comes off, you're not damaging your cases. Spacer, foot pegs. Jerry runs our air box. Seat brackets, keeps the seat on tight so he doesn't fall off when he's going over the whoops. And then this side, Jerry runs a couple little things, a lot of little rubber parts on the bike and stuff are all done by us. And then down here we've got our brake pedal, which has got needle bearings in there, and then it's got a wider toe peg so it gives them a real nice, clean, easy to use brake. And then this is our latest part. This is a CR250 type knuckle. In fact, Honda used them on the last versions of the MR175s, and this is a real trick aluminum Kickstarter arm. So that gives them lightweight, strength, and reliability more than anything else. Reliability.
There you have it. Paul Parkinson here, ReplicaMotorcycleParts.com. I had the pleasure of spending just a couple of minutes, really. I couldn't. His table was surrounded at the York Swap Meet with all his products. And you see this table right here? Well, that was from Canada from last year. He's got 4 of those now. And believe me, he has space on this table. He has no more space on 4 tables at the York Swap Meet. He's got so many different products, kickstarters and gears, air boxes. Who else do you know that makes stuff for the 1974 or 75 Kawasaki KX400? There's the airbox lid. Here's the filter cover that goes inside the airbox. And of course, you'll never find one of these NOS or OEM, but Paul Parkinson Sr. has replicated the countershaft sprocket cover for your KX 250s. I think they had them, and the 400s as well. That's Paul Parkinson Sr., Replica Motorcycle Parts. The slide ever changes. Thank you so much. This Week in Motocross History is brought to you by Racer X, available online and on your newsstand now at racerx.com. 1978, what a year it was for Yamaha. They dominated the 1978 season with Bob Hanna winning the AMA Supercross Championship, the 250 National Motocross Championship, and the Trans Am title. Brock Glover taking the 125cc MX title, and Rick Burgett taking the 500 National Motocross Championship. You know, I'm going to say something here. Bob Hanna did have a lot of wins. He may not have as many national championships as Ricky Johnson or Brock Glover. He doesn't have any 500cc national championships. But this year, 1978, between the 250 National, 250 Supercross, and the Trans Am Series, and we're talking DeCoster still in his prime, Heike Mikula, Brad Lackey, Adolf Veal. We're talking some serious contenders out there. This is the year that I believe cemented Bob Hanna into the Hall of Fame and just launched him into a different stratosphere. But you got to look at Glover, also a Trans Am winner at one event. I think it was Unadilla, in fact, and Jeff Stanton. And there were a lot of other, Ricky Johnson. And before I dig this hole any deeper, I am going to move on to 1979. Can-Am, 4 years removed from winning the AMA national title with Jimmy Ellis at the helm, announced that their 1975 lineup would be led by former factory Suzuki rider and three-time AMA national champion Tony DiStefano. Joining Tony D at Can-Am would be Rich Irestead, Greg Robertson, Kippy Pierce, and an upcoming kid from California that only locals knew about. His name was Donnie Hansen. But we all knew about Donnie Hansen by the time 1982 rolled around. The team would start out a season at the Florida Winter Am Tour before going all in 1975 AMA Toyota Supercross Championship. 1986. What a year it was. The AMA, I got married that year, by the way. The AMA's controversial production rule goes into effect, ending the era of the works bike in AMA Supercross and motocross. The rule was brought about in order to curb the cost of professional racing and bring more parity between the manufacturers. Kawasaki's Jeff Ward was the defending AMA Supercross champion, but the 86 season would nevertheless be dominated by Honda riders Rick Johnson, David Bailey, Johnny O'Mara, and Mickey Diamond, all seen here in this picture. 39 years later, we're still talking about, we're not talking about it, but I am talking about it. But 39 years later, we still have the production rule. Susie.
Yeah.
What is happening with the viewer appreciation package tonight?
Oh, I don't know nothing.
Nothing. Don't you have a winner?
No, I do.
Oh, what do you got?
I have someone we both know really well.
Oh,
and his name is Tony Sikorsky.
Tony Sikorsky.
Yeah.
TMX.
Yeah.
Race Sir Tony Sikorsky. You know what? I got to go back here for a second. Congratulations, Tony Sikorsky. Look at this bike he's restored. Off the hook. Yeah. And you know what? Tony raced one of these things as a lad back in New York State. He was one of the only guys around that had one of these. So Tony Sikorsky, all I know is that you live in Ossining, New York. I can't really tell you what your address is, although we've been friends for many, many years. And Tony, we'll get you a light. Did you turn that thing off? Or is it still on? That light. Oh, that's right. You turned it off. No biggie.
Yeah.
Tony Sikorsky, get me. Oh, Susie loves to do this. Watch this. Here, do it again. Let me see it. Oh, there it goes.
Oh, also, I wanted to tell everybody, the viewers, that I have 2 XX hoodies with our logo on the back, and I can put anything on the front, like whatever motorcycle logo you want.
Right.
You know, for whatever, at a really good price.
Yeah.
$40.
$40. Double X.
Yeah.
Double X black hoodie. Vintage Motocross Q&A logo across the back. A logo of your choice across the front. I will also, we only have 2 of them, by the way. All right. What I'll do is I'll post those up on the page tomorrow. And we'll get down to getting those sold.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I think we've got a couple of more things to go here. We talked about Donnie Hansen and the Honda team. Vintage Motocross Q&A sponsorship opportunities are available. Get a hold of me. We'll get you up on the board behind me. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Why do you think that Motion Pro, Full Circle, and Vinco have been up there going on 5 years? Because they see results, guys. All right. They see results. The same thing for ReplicaMotorcycleParts.com and Derf's Sunrise Vapor Blasting. All of them see results. Get a hold of me. It's not as expensive as you think. Believe me, I'd be happy to get it together with you on the board, and you'll get your name out there, and you'll reach. We reach a lot of people every week. After people watch the show and share it and then watch it on YouTube and Facebook, we reach like 25,000, 30,000 people a week, maybe more.
Yeah.
Racer X, big supporter of Vintage Motocross Q&A. Thank you, Sean Goins. FastGuyStuff.com. Got all the stickers fit to stick wherever you might want to stick them. Ben's Vintage Motocross, a Vintage Mini Bike podcast. That happens. You know when it happened? Happened when I was away at the York Swap Meet last week. So last Sunday, which was January 12th, there was a Vintage Mini Bike podcast, okay? So you can go over there. They're on Facebook, and you can get a hold of that. Now, a little bit ago, in the beginning of the show, I was talking about the Big Air Kids Fair. This is a new organization we are working with my friend Steve Bauer. Steve has been doing this for 14 years, brought in some of the biggest names in stunt riding, and you won't believe this, but this is just a small portion of it. By the way, it happens on Wednesday, January 22nd. So if you are anywhere in the Loma Linda area and you want to swing by the front of the hospital, that's right, the front of the hospital, you'll see Axel Hudgens and a half a dozen other guys putting on a stunt show. Look at this. They put on a stunt show right in front of the hospital for these kids, some of them who have, sadly, terminal diseases, okay? And many of them cannot afford the kind of care they get, and that can only be had at Loma Linda Hospital. Steve Bauer, you're a motorcyclist, a journalist, and certainly a philanthropist. Mm-hmm. Get over to the Big Air Kids Fair if you're down there in Southern California. And, while I'm thinking about it, I don't think any fires are near Loma Linda, but if they are, and for anybody else that has been affected by the fires in Southern California, we are in our thoughts and prayers. Our heart goes out to you, and hopefully this madness ends once and for all. That wraps it up for this week's episode of Vintage Motocross Q&A. It's good to be back here in the seat. And Tony Sikorsky, congratulations. Paul Standard, go back in the warehouse, help yourself to whatever you like. And we will see you next time on Vintage Motocross Q&A. You want to see him? He's here. I'll get him. Gino! Oh, here he comes. There you go.
Skunk boy.
He smells like a skunk. The skunk, it's Skunks 4, Gino and Rocco 0. But the old man's getting underneath that shed. And, well, let me not say anything, In California, we wouldn't want to hurt anything, right? See you next time on Vintage Motocross Q&A.